Once upon a time in a small village, there lived a kind and gentle little princess named Cinderella. She was known for her sweet nature and her love for animals. However, Cinderella's life was not as enchanting as one might expect for a princess. Cinderella's mother had passed away when she was just a child, and her father had remarried a woman with 2 daughters of her own. Unfortunately, Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were not as kind-hearted as she was. They treated her like a servant, making her do all the household chores while they enjoyed a life of luxury. Despite the hardships, Cinderella remained cheerful and hopeful. She found solace in her friendship with the animals that lived around the house. Mice, birds, and even the family cat became her companions, and she would often talk to them about her dreams of a better life. One day, an invitation arrived at the house. The royal family was hosting a grand ball, and every maiden in the kingdom was invited. Cinderella's stepsisters were thrilled and immediately began preparing for the event. They selfishly demanded that Cinderella help them get ready, leaving her with no time to prepare for herself. As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella's heart ached at the thought of missing such a magical event. Alone in her room, she couldn't hold back her tears. Suddenly, a soft, magical glow filled the room, and to her astonishment, a kind fairy appeared. The fairy, with a twinkle in her eye, promised to help Cinderella attend the ball. With a wave of her wand, the fairy transformed Cinderella's tattered clothes into a beautiful gown, and her worn-out shoes into sparkling glass slippers. The fairy also turned a pumpkin into a magnificent carriage and mice into elegant horses. Before disappearing, she warned Cinderella to leave the ball before midnight, for the magic would only last until then. Cinderella arrived at the royal ball, and all who saw her were captivated by her beauty. The prince himself was enchanted by her grace and kindness. They danced the night away, and for a moment Cinderella forgot all her troubles. As the clock struck midnight, Cinderella remembered the fairy's warning and hurriedly left the ball, leaving behind a single glass slipper. The magic wore off, and her gown turned back into rags. The prince, desperate to find the mysterious maiden, discovered the glass slipper and set out to find its owner. The next day, the prince arrived at Cinderella's house. Her stepsisters tried to squeeze their feet into the glass slipper, but it was too small for them. When Cinderella tried on the slipper, it fit perfectly. The prince recognized her as the enchanting maiden from the ball, and he was overjoyed to have found her. Cinderella and the prince were married, and they lived happily ever after. Her kindness had won the heart of the prince, and together they ruled the kingdom with compassion and fairness. And so, the tale of Cinderella became a story of hope and the belief that kindness can overcome even the harshest of circumstances.